Hi, hello, hello. We have a new chapter of Boku no Hero. What did I. Boku no Hero Academia. That was some very strange attempts at English or Japanese or whatever. We are continuing with this Dabi Todoroki saga, learning Dabi's past, understanding his pain, and seeing how that transforms into his fearsome firepower in the present. This chapter is called Two Flash Fires, which I think obviously refers to the brothers themselves in this climactic battle. And it's interesting how much this kind of hits two very extreme aspects of this series. That on the one hand, you just have like kind of a very classic family drama, where if you removed all of the supernatural elements, you could still just have a really standard story of a father with undue expectations of his children, trying to breed them into something that he couldn't be. The mother cast aside and abused, the way the children are kind of tossed into the royal of this the horrible situation. Just swap out shooting fire out of your body with shogi or being a doctor or any number of other things. But then on the other hand, they're actually really focusing on this idea of shooting fire out of your body and really kind of getting into this idea of like, what is a quirk? Is a quirk actually like a curse? How is it that people are given these gifts that they can hurt themselves or even kill themselves and hurt others or kill others with? And just how do you manage that? Not just even on a psychological level, but on like a physiological level. Like, how do you handle the fact that your body just produces horribly dangerous fire all the time? And that's what we see at the start of this chapter, talking about the flash fire fist. Builds up internal heat to the maximum threshold before unleashing it as an attack, the peak manifestation of fire achieved by a young Endeavor. When Endeavor mastered this move in his quest for power, he came to understand his own limitations and that fire produced a shimmering heat haze that warped and distorted all he gazed upon. There it is right there. Taking the supernatural elements of the series all the way back around to characterization, to the most human elements of the series. Dabi is annihilating the All Might statue. His flames showing no limits. He himself very much on fire. The roaring flames everywhere. It's faster than me raising his temperature. There's no hint of hesitation. Even if that ain't here, you'll make for some prime kindling all the same. Sure. And we know now that there's no real strong sense of hierarchy among Tomura and Dabi. That Dabi could have easily been another candidate for All for One, but instead he just could not be controlled. His flames could not be tamed in any way, shape, or form. So this is one of the most dangerous characters in the entire series. We're very much clearly being told. I've got some legit thoughts about you too. What firepower is all I knew? Potential surpasses my own, he said. That encouraged me. So I guess it's true that Dabi really was the ultimate inheritor of the fire quirk. That his fire quirk is actually stronger than Endeavor's. It's just that it didn't have the ice quirk balance that makes Todoroki so uniquely powerful. And then, all of his nerves got damaged. He can't feel the heat from his own flames, which allows him to essentially have the same power as Todoroki, except he actually is destroying his body in actuality when he does this. The Flash Fire Fist, he brings it out as well. Are you a fan of All Might? Now, this is really interesting, too, because there's the whole Endeavor family stuff, but then there's an entirely other very psychological plotline of Endeavor always being in the shadow of All Might, wanting to become this symbol of peace, but having a totally different reputation than All Might. His kind of anxiety and his struggles as the number 2 hero in Japan. And if they're able to kind of like weave those plots together somehow, even though Endeavor isn't even physically here, that would be very powerful. He unleashes this flurry of fire, the Hell Spider. This one poor cactus looking Nomu. I don't know if he signed up for this. I don't think Dabi cares even slightly that some of the people around him are actually his allies. He is just going to infernoize this entire area. Is that Endeavor's move? They're so haphazard. So Ida remembers something here. Todoroki saying something, I guess because they knew they were going to be deployed together. These three had a little strategizing session, I think. But I'll be real with you, if this was something that was shown in the manga before, I don't remember what they were saying. Where are my Tums? I just had a little heartburn. Well, I can make it through this video. So I'm not sure what this flashback entails. My guess is that Todoroki is saying, I've come up with a way to use some sort of devastating super attack. And Ida's like, I don't know, that seems very dangerous. And here we see that these either fire quirk people who have trained with Endeavor are able to hold back the flames long enough for Todoroki to be charging up something. His own Flashfire, maybe? I don't know. Dabi suddenly behind them? What was the look on your face when you were holed up at UA with all those scared little civilians? Son of Endeavor, brother of Dabi. Calamity incarnate, concentrated down to a boy-sized package. That's a good question. I wonder if he got heat too. Like, there was that several chapters dealing with Midoriya wanting to stay at UA again. He didn't even really want to at the start, but they forced him to, so that he'd have a safe place to rest. And then all the other citizens staying at UA were like, I don't think so. This kid is like, a walking time bomb. But I feel like maybe Todoroki got some heat too. No pun intended. He is kind of like a calamity incarnate. And certainly someone that seemed quite targeted by Dabi in fights before. Why am I wearing my headphones, by the way? I haven't made videos in a while. Didn't have my Tums ready. Wearing my headphones. My gosh. Maybe I was speaking really loudly because my headphones were on and I couldn't hear myself right. Anyways. The battle continues. This is... I really do like the way that the artist depicts fire. It's not, your traditional kind of cartoon fire where it's nice, clean, little wiggly flames. But instead something that actually seems actively burning with this almost painful visual of particles flying up out of the burned objects that really, I think, conveys the speed and danger and explosiveness in a way that really is really impressive. Keeps the heat dialed up like that. Boy, everything. Sure don't capitalize on it. Nobody's willing to say it to your face, so allow me. You're a feckless, half-baked puppet. You'll never make a damn thing of yourself. Like, look at... This is a great example of what I'm talking about. Like, you really feel like they're disintegrating in the flames, right? That they're actually just going up into cinders. I love, too, the splashing of the molten rock underneath Dabi's foot. This is pretty phenomenal. And this is, interesting on a characterization level too, because these are the exact anxieties that Todoroki dealt with for so long. And essentially he did have such a complex for so long where he wouldn't use his fire side. He would only use ice because he didn't want to acknowledge his father's strength. He didn't want to, follow in his father's footsteps and basically do what his dad wanted him to, until he realized that no, being a hero is a higher calling than these internal issues, that I can put aside these things and live up to my potential, and that's much more beneficial for everyone than sticking to these ideals and my hatred of my father and blah blah blah. So for him to kind of have that realization, take that step forward, and then still be told, no, you're holding yourself back, you're not living up to your potential, you're squandering your gifts, that's pretty brutal. But I'm gonna be real with you, I think Dabi in a sense is almost right here. Todoroki, of course, is like very gifted as a student, and is certainly one of the strongest people in 1A. but he's not the strongest person in 1A. Midoriya is clearly the strongest person in 1A, right? Midoriya has potential that exceeds anyone else at UA. And I think that's the level that Dabi expects Todoroki to be at. Because Dabi feels like he's pushed himself to that world-class level. He's pushed himself to be one of the greatest threats to society. So why isn't Todoroki one of the greatest heroes in society when he's been even more blessed than Dabi? So I think he's hitting on something that I can't fully disagree with. On some metrics, looking at it on paper, Todoroki ought to be one of the strongest heroes in the world, right? If he can boast Endeavor level flames, but with the cooling factor that allows him to like output them infinitely, that's insane. And the excuse of like, oh, but he's a kid, is totally reasonable. But I can see why somebody like Dabi would not take that as an excuse. Oh my god, wow. He just got lasered into this building. I love the way the building burning up right around the impact is depicted here. You're not wrong about me. No, see, even Todoroki admits it. Took the long way around and was full of doubt all the while. A half-baked dummy. That's me. But I thought you were only focusing on Dad. But no, you were nice enough to take a close look at me too. Glad to know it. Let's hold on to this. Working on that old move in hopes of keeping pace with the others. See, this is the anxiety that I'm talking about, right? Like, he knows that he has been gifted with a one-of-a-kind quirk that maybe exceeds almost any other quirk in power. Turn Flashfire into something more. Now it's a move made to stop you. Let's consider what teams we're on. But all for one. The remaining heroes are the only one to hope of opposing him. He has to face Shigaraki with the power to go up against Toya. More than that, that's what I want. Okay, so this is kind of cool. I know, to retain the element of surprise, we didn't get to see the planning that went into this coordinated divide and conquer strategy, and that surprise was awesome and a great reveal, but I do want to see in flashbacks like this more of their logistics, more of how they divided up heroes with villains, what matchups they thought were favorable, which matchups were personally important. It's just kind of cool, and the series has always excelled on like kind of that intellectual side of the shonen fight, where it's not just arbitrarily based on what progresses the plot, but these sorts of matchups play out with like kind of a reverence for how they ought to play out, like on paper, right? So I think in this very complicated situation where you have tons of villains with tons of different powers and like pretty much every hero in the series trying to line themselves up properly to get a good outcome, that would be really, really fascinating to see that sort of theory crafting. Maybe you're happy, little brother, but let me say this. Dad was a madman. Our family was screwed up. But when you burned all those people to death, that was your choice. You're not taking any more innocent lives. Todoroki has never made an expression like that before. My God, I'm amazed. I'm terrified, honestly. Flashfire Fist, Phosphor. Okay, so Phosphor, Phosphorus, Hoseki no Kuni. Phos is a super nightmare being with the powers of... No, I'm sorry, I won't try to spoil that series for you. That's totally irrelevant. But phosphorus itself is like what? It's like a burning chemical. It's in, the body and stuff too. But if it's just raw phosphorus, it's like a chemical weapon. Right? It's in fertilizer. It's in the heads of matches. So it's like a combustible thing. Okay. Just aim all your rage at us. Keep it in the family. We can settle this in the family. Okay, I'm not quite sure exactly what this attack entails. There's obviously some ice in the mix too. I'm sure in the next chapter we're going to see a more thorough flashback with Ida where he talks about how he discovered this move and stuff. So I don't really see any need to like speculate on it too much right now. I don't know if this is going to wipe out Dabi. I think we're in an era of fights that are so climactic that this is actually just the end of like phase one. And then Dabi is like, all right, then I will point my rage at you. Because I think there's still a lot to be said and a lot to be settled in this fight. And I want to see Todoroki, flex more at the super high power level. If not for any other reason, then this has got to be close to the end of the series, right? There's not really any place they can go after this, right? After this big climactic mega battle arc. So I want to see more. I want to see more Todoroki fighting. I want the author to take as many chances as they can here at the end to show us how cool this combination ice and fire power is. And it is cool. And it's also hot. Alright, bye. See you in, I think, a couple weeks. I think it's on break again. Bye-bye.